Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's video. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to create APA-style references specifically for academic journals. So this is going to be using APA 7. And if you want to look at general information about creating APA-style references, please check out my video, which I will link above. So today we are specifically talking about academic journals, so let's get started. First of all, let's talk about the information that is needed when you're creating an APA reference for an academic article. In general, it looks a lot like our general basic APA style reference with just a little bit more information. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to have is the author's names. So in a lot of academic articles, there's going to be more than one author, which is why I include the author's names. However, obviously, articles can be published by more than just one author. Okay, so that is the first thing. Just with all sources, you are going to have the author's name first, followed by the year of publication, the title of the publication, the title of the journal, which I also refer to as the container. And then the new information is the volume number and the issue number. So the volume number, think about a magazine. So imagine you were in a library, a huge library, and there are tons of magazines, and you are specifically looking for the May 20th issue of in 1962. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do to narrow it down, you say, I want Vogue, and then you say, I want 1962, so that narrows it down a lot, and then you say, I want May 19. Okay, so that narrows it down to the specific magazine that you want, which is what this is doing. It's saying the volume number, which is in some cases the year. Sometimes there are multiple volumes that come out every year. Sometimes there's just one a year. Sometimes they're every 5 years. So every academic article or periodical is going to have a volume number. And then the next is going to be the issue number. So every volume has several issues that come out. So it might be the 1962 issue, the 1962 volume in the May issue. Okay, so they'll have specific numbers for that. The last thing that a lot of academic articles are going to have is a DOI. So that is a link that you can click that is a stable link. It will always, always, always go to that article. So that is really important, especially in the day of technology that we are in, to have that link. However, it does cost money, so not all articles are going to have that. Let's look at what this looks like when you actually create your reference. So the first thing you notice just by looking at it is that it is similar to a general reference in that we still have this hanging indent, so that the author's last name, the first author's last name, is always going to be on the far left-hand side, and everything else is going to be scooched in ½ an inch, right? And one thing to note is that if you have multiple authors, they are always going to be listed on your article in a specific order. And it's important to keep that order in mind and use exactly that order, because like being the first author is different than the fourth author. In that saying, like the first author did the most work, they had the most ideas, etc. The fourth author did not do as much work, did not have as many original ideas, etc. So the authors specifically choose the order, and you should keep it that way. All right, the next thing you need is the year in parentheses, followed by the title of the article with the subtitle possibly. Again, please note that the capitalization, so in academic articles, we are going to be using sentence case for the title of the article, meaning that only the first letter of the title and subtitle are capitalized. The rest of the letters are not, unless obviously it is a proper noun, and then obviously you should capitalize that. The other thing is that we do not have any underlines, we do not have italics, we do not have quotation marks, none of that, just plain old text. Next, we have a period and then the title of the periodical. The title of the periodical should be written in title case and in italics. So we have the major words capitalized as if it were a title of a book, the way that we would normally write it. For an academic article, since we have our volume number and issue number, we're going to have the volume number next, also in italics, with the issue number in parentheses, not in italics, then comma, just the page numbers. And then the DOI should follow. It's fine to put that on the same line, it just did not fit here. Okay, So I know that's a ton of information. Let's look at how we actually find this information on an article and then create a citation from it. All right, so to provide an example, I decided to bring up this article where we can quickly and easily find a lot of information that we need for our APA style reference. And the information we find here is going to look a lot like different academic articles that you are going to find. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to open up this document and I'm going to have a Word document next to it. So we can kind of work through creating the reference together. All right, so the very first information that we are going to need is the author's name. So you can quickly see, looking at this article here, that the author's name is prominently written. So we can add that to our citation. So as we know, we write the author's last name first, comma, their first initial, period. And this specific article does not have a second, third, etc. author, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, the next thing that we need is the year of publication. So I'm going to start by putting in my parentheses and look for the year of publication. So a lot of times you'll find information either in the top header or in the footer down at the bottom. So I see kind of up at the top that it does say Intellect Unlimited for 2020. So I'm going to say that this was published in 2020. All right, so the very next thing we need is the title of the article. And I'm pretty sure most of you know how to find that. It is the big old thing right in the middle. And we want to remember to write that in sentence case. So we're going to write it without the L capitalized. But when we write parents, we are going to have that P capitalized because it is the first word of the subtitle. Right, so now that I have that typed out, we are going to find the publisher. So the publisher, again, is often going to be up at the top or at the bottom of your article. And as you can see right here, the publisher for this article is International Journal of Education Through Art. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. And remember, I want to have this italicized, so I mean slanty, and it is going to be in title case. So I'm going to capitalize every important word like you would for a title, skipping out the small words like of, the, a, etc. Now, following the title of the journal, I'm going to have a comma instead of a period and show the volume number. So the volume right here is right next to the information about the publisher, and you see the issue number there too. So we're going to go ahead and write 16 and then parentheses 1. You notice that the 16 is in italics, but the 1 is not. And then I'm going to have a comma. And up at the top, it says this is pages 115 through 128. And you can kind of double check and see, yep, that is the first page. And I can go down to last page and see, yes, that really does go 115 to 128. So I'm going to write that. Now, the important thing is to remember to use the pages in the original publication, because if you just write like 1 through 20, imagine somebody going through the library to find that article and they pick up that Vogue magazine and then they flip to page 1 and they're like, this is not what I was looking for. I was looking for what was on page 115. Okay, so that's why we have the page numbers. Also, when you have the right page numbers, it helps people when they are looking at a quotation or anything else that you added. All right, the last thing for your reference is a DOI if your article happens to have one. This article does have an DOI, and if I could copy it, I absolutely would, but this actually has a link, which is awesome. So I can be brought specifically here. A lot of times too, if you can get to this page, this is really awesome because it gives you a lot of the information, even though you can tell like some of it doesn't specifically align with this, but you can find it and it makes it a lot easier. And here I can just copy that DOI and add it there. Now, obviously this is all different font right now. So if I wanted it in Times New Roman 12, I would do that. Now, the last thing you might notice is that we are missing one major element, which is our hanging indent. So what I'm going to do to create that hanging indent is highlight the whole text, click on paragraph, and under indents and spacing, I'm going to click special and do hanging. And that automatically creates that hanging indent for me without having to hit tab or anything else. And then next time I like create, if I just go from there, I'm just gonna create like a bunch of nonsense. And as you can see, it automatically did that hanging indent for me. So you do not have to put a lot of fuss and time and trouble into creating that hanging indent. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. I know APA references aren't that fun, but hopefully they aren't that intimidating now either. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.